Hi, everybody. Welcome to Los Angeles. We are hanging out at the LA 36 studio. I'm John Conti, joined by Elwood Brown. And you might have seen us do a lot of things on the TV, but today we have something special. It's not about us today. We are announcing the great Steve Calhoun of Armed and Dangerous Football. Now, Elwood, we've been talking to Steve Calhoun for quite a while about having his own show. Can you tell me, how did we actually convince him to do this?
Well, once again, this is something that's dear to my heart for Steve. You do a lot for the kids in the community. You work hard, you're professional, and you're actually pretty good at your job, man. And I always felt, and I told John, that this is something that needs to happen for Steve, man. We want to promote you. You're not the guy that's going to promote yourself. Right. All the accolades you have in the NFL, they don't talk enough about you. So our job is to make sure, number one, you talk about yourself, and then we talk about you. So no further ado, I want to introduce my man, Armed and Dangerous, Steve Calhoun.
Yeah, good deal, man. I appreciate you guys having me on and convincing. It wasn't a lot of convincing. Y'all didn't have to twist my arm. This is something I actually thought about for a while, but when you guys brought it to my attention, and I'm like, man, I'm on board. Well, definitely on board.
Steve, I don't mean to correct you, but we're not having you on. You're having us on today. So whether you like it or not, we're your first guest of the show. But actually, look, Elwood Brown and I are just here to promote you, talk about what you're doing. Steve, we know you've dealt with so many professional athletes on so many levels. And what we really want to do is find out what this podcast is all about. What is your goal of the podcast?
Yeah, definitely. It's this podcast is about my journey through the last 21 years that I've been running Armed and Dangerous, and the people that I had the opportunity to meet through that journey and those roads. So it's the guest list, or the guest that's going to actually be able to come on the show and talk about our relationships and how we met. It's going to be really, really cool. We're going to have some really interesting topics and conversations, and sometimes it's going to be deep, sometimes it's going to be light, but it's going to be from A to Z. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sorry. One thing I do know, Steve, about you is that you're passionate about what you do as far as when you training your kids. Yeah. It's to the perfection of the details of the 1, 2, 3 windows, as I say. Yeah. And meeting you years ago, man, it's the relationships that you build in this building that keeps us together, man. And I respect what you do out there for those kids, man. And I'm happy to be on your show today.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I mean, all the nice things you guys already said about me, man. I really appreciate that. You guys been in my corner from day one since we met however many years ago. You guys believed in me when Armed and Dangerous was just...
It was just armed, not quite dangerous.
It was just armed. Right? It was armed and a little bit of dangerous.
And, talking about all the people I mean, you have more celebrities in your phone book than the Hollywood, Walk of Fame. So we're really, really excited to see who you're going to have on and what you're going to talk about. Do you want to give us a little bit of insight on who you might have coming on the show?
Yeah, definitely. Right off the top, my son, Nick Needham, who's going into his 6th year, playing for the Miami Dolphins, undrafted free agent. So going through his journey of only having one offer coming out of high school and being able to parlay that into a 6-year NFL career, that's unbelievable. Jordan Love, starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, our journey from him being a freshman in high school and now he's a starting quarterback, for the Green Bay Packers. And Keenan Allen, another, story that these are not guys who I've just been around 1 or 2 years. These are, Keenan's going into his 12th year. So, I had him for going on 13 years now, when he was at Cal Berkeley, his junior year. I mean, just so many guys, the Mannings, Peyton and Eli, Mr. Manning. I don't call him Archie, I call him Mr. Manning. I'm going into my 12th year working their camp down in Thibodaux, Louisiana at Nicholls State University. So it's really been a nice journey to go through this path that I'm going through and the people that I'm able to meet on this path and on this journey, and I'm excited to have them on the show, as well as you two.
And we've been around you with these athletes. I mean, Steve, you're on another level. I mean, these guys have so much respect and admiration for you. It's really cool for Elwood and I to watch it happen from the sidelines. I mean, Elwood, we've just seen so many great things with Steve over the years, have we not?
Absolutely, and then looking forward to continue to see the great things. You know, our always concern is you don't talk about yourself enough, and I feel all the guys that you have in the league, they don't talk about Armin Dangerous enough. That's okay. That's what we're here for, man. To let them know that Steve Calhoun is the man, and he's been your guy for years, and just show him some love. That's all we want.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's I want my work to speak for itself. If they feel confident enough to talk about it in their interviews after a game or before a game, then hey, that's awesome. That's great, and that definitely helps me promote my brand. But if they don't, they know who's been in the trenches with them and doing that day to day and helping them, you know, achieve Super Bowls and Pro Bowls and all those things that they have, you know, that they accomplish in their lives.
So why don't we talk about a guy like Jordan Love? I mean, you've been with Jordan Love since day one.
Yeah.
He gets drafted by the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, he takes them deep into the playoffs last year. I mean, what has it been like going on this journey with Jordan?
Well, it's really been unbelievable. I mean, to see him when he hadn't grown into his body yet as a young freshman in high school, and now to see him as a, you know, starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers and the confidence that he has, you know, going into this upcoming season, coming off that really deep run that they had with the playoffs, you know, losing to, of course, you know, your 49ers, John. I hate to say that on air, but yeah, it's been a great journey to see where he's come from losing his father, and just becoming into his own man, and it's really been cool just to see that, and all the little details I talked to him about. Nothing changes from when his freshman year in high school to what we do in the offseason right now. It's the same blueprint. It's the same thing we work on day in and day out, and he's able to take those details back out to Green Bay and put them on display in front of millions and millions of people. So it's been a really good thing to see.
And what I see, Steve, is you're not only their football coach, trainer, mentor, sometimes dad figure.
Yes.
Because these kids, you know, after a bad game or something, they may call you. What is it like for like Jordan, knowing that he lost his dad and knowing that anytime he calls you, that you'll be there for him?
Well, you know, first of all, it's a big responsibility to take on, just to be a small piece of his, I always call it a village. I'm not the biggest piece. You know, his mom, Anna Love, is the biggest piece of that, and his sisters are the biggest piece of that. But to be a small piece of that, along with, you know, Brian Nixon, who was his high school head coach, who actually got me in touch with Jordan in the first place. But to be a small piece of that, and him to be able to always be, to be able to call me, and he knows I'm going to answer, and not only pat him on the back and be like, hey, you know, you're doing great, even though he didn't do great. I'm going to tell him the truth. That's the biggest thing. My thing is, I'm going to call a sheep. I'm not going to call it a giraffe. It's a sheep. So I'm always want to be truthful with these guys, because they have enough people around them who's going to blow smoke to them and not really tell them the truth. But I always want to keep them grounded and let them know, hey, where they came from, and you wasn't famous when you were born. So let's just kind of keep it even-tempered and understand that stay grounded. Just stay grounded.
You know, Steve, one of the things that you just mentioned was you don't want to blow any smoke. You want to be honest with these guys. And, you know, I've been around you enough to know that you are brutally honest with these guys, because you're going to be able to take them to the next level just by being honest with them. Do any of these guys ever get offended when you tell them how it is?
There's no doubt. I don't call them arguments. I call them discussions. Argument is somebody where you really you don't like. But I love all my guys. You know what I mean? But it definitely gets heated. But once I'm able to explain where I'm coming from, and they understand how it will help them become a better player, and they have a chance to reflect, then they eventually agree with me. But it's never just like I tell them this, and they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. No, it's never like that. Sometimes. But.
So tell me something, Steve. What is the youngest age limit that you accept a kid that wants to be a quarterback?
Right now, I start at 10 years old. But probably my youngest quarterback that I ever started with was a 6-year-old Bryce Young. So I'm definitely gonna have his mom and dad on the show, and we got video footage of Bryce when he's 6 years old, and the T-shirt I only had some small adult T-shirts. I didn't know I was going to get a young 6-year-old out there. So, man, the shirt is down below his knees, and he's out there going through the boards and shuffling through and throwing the ball. Which you guys are seeing. We got video evidence of all this stuff. So that was the youngest. But now, I think the mature age to give them all information that they're going to receive. I think 10-year-olds, 10 years is kind of like the starting age.
And Steve, I think it's great that we talked about having all these kids at a small age, being able to kind of mold them into the quarterbacks that they are. But I want to go back to the blow and smoke thing that we talked about a while ago, because with all due respect, I feel like there's a quarterback coach on just about every corner nowadays. And we've seen you work, and we've seen you get out there, put in the hours, put in the time. I've seen other people's that they're going to accept any kid because they want to get a paycheck. Can you kind of talk about what you would do if you had a kid that maybe wasn't the greatest athlete?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be honest with them. If they come out there and they're not engaged in my coaching, and if I can't keep their attention for an hour and a half, and they're just kind of there because I think their parents want them to be there, or some parents want to live vicariously through their kids. I'm speaking more on dads. Their dad played high school quarterback or played college quarterback, and they want their kid to be a quarterback, but he doesn't want to be a quarterback. He would rather be a kicker or a painter or a band member. Joey's my guy.
There you
go. I'm going to definitely just let him know. I'm like, hey, I don't think your son wants to play quarterback. And I think you should find another avenue. Don't just throw money out there, and I'm not going to take it because it's not engaging. There's no fun for me to be out there with somebody for an hour and a half, and he's not engaged. He doesn't want to learn. So I would just tell the parents, hey, keep your money. There's a lot of other quarterbacks out there, quarterback coaches out there that would take your money and, continue to try to develop your son, but don't waste my time.
Now, tell me something, Steve. I know when you're out there, man, you're strictly business. Mm-hmm. And if you feel a kid is not giving your attention or is not being receptive of what you're teaching them, and you go tell the parent, okay? Parent takes him away. Say 6 months down the line, this same kid comes back. Well, you give him another shot to see how much he developed.
I would. But that leash is going to be a lot shorter. I'm not planning on going a normal hour and a half like I would go. He's got half an hour
to show me,
to show me that he's learned and he's matured. And in that half an hour, if he's still not there, then I'll just shut the whole workout down and just be like, okay, hey, we're still not there. We're still not there yet. Maybe you should go find something that you're passionate about, because I'm definitely passionate about what I do and what I teach, and I have this blueprint that I've been doing for the last 21 years that's turned out some really, really good results. So.
Well, Steve, the whole reason why I asked you that question is because, as you know, I'm a high school football coach myself, and I think 90% of the parents think, their kid is the next Joe Montana or the next whoever it's going to be. So assuming you have to temper some of these expectations sometimes of the parents as well.
Yeah, you definitely do. They don't like to hear it. There some options for to many parents is to throw more money at me. Hey, this is your price. Hey, I'm going to double that. But still, I'm like, keep your money, invest in something that your kid is really passionate about. So it doesn't matter how much money you want to throw at me. If the kid is not passionate about it, or if I have more passion about the position or getting better than they do, the marriage is not there. So I just tell them, hey, I decline. You should take your son to someone else.
So tell me something, Steve. I know you're strictly a quarterback coach, but when you're training quarterbacks, you're going to need wide receivers.
Definitely.
You're going to need DBs.
Yes. Funny thing about that, you said I only train quarterbacks. That's actually not a true statement. I'm a quarterback receiver coach.
Thank you.
And the way I actually got into coaching receivers is I got interviewed for a quarterback coaching job at Golden West College, and went over there, met with the head coach, Alex Gerke, and interview went great. He goes, hey, you got the job, because the quarterback coach that had the job previously, he took another job. The very next day, it didn't work out for that previous coach at his new place, so he called Coach Gerke and said, hey, can I have my job back? He said, absolutely. So Coach Gerke called me and said, hey, I don't have a quarterback position open anymore, but I do have a receiver position. Would you want it? I said, yeah, absolutely. So now I said, Okay, I can do it. I've been throwing to receivers my whole life, so I just had to start to learn the details of how to get them to create separation at the top of the route, to understand how to catch the ball in traffic and have that, and make them understand that they need to be on the same page as a quarterback, as the quarterback, and not just, okay, I just run my route, but why am I running my route? Why am I running it at this depth? And so that's when I really started to transfer Armed and Dangerous from not only just coaching quarterbacks, but also quarterbacks and receivers. And that's where the Keenan Allens come in, and the Robert Woods, and the Marquise Lees, and the Tyler Lockett's, and the Cordero Pattersons. All that started to transform into quarterback receivers for Armed and Dangerous.
And look, I've been out several of your practices. I mean, you pretty much have the whole Green Bay Packers team out here working out. I mean, you had all the receivers out there. I know you had a tight end from the Minnesota Vikings out there. Like, you are surrounded with all these great players. And is it part of your philosophy that, look, if you want to be a wide receiver, you have to know how to play DB. If you want to be a DB, you need to know how to play a wide receiver so you can kind of think one step ahead. Is that kind of what your business model is?
That's definitely. I truly believe one of the reasons why my son is playing in the NFL, playing a defensive back in the NFL, is that I trained him at receiver. His whole time he's been playing football, trained him at receiver. So once he started playing DB, he knew exactly what his opponent. Okay.
He's one step ahead.
One step ahead. What's trying to do to him by the way he lined up. If the receiver lined up at the bottom of the numbers, okay. So basically, my son started to eliminate routes. When you line up at the bottom of the numbers, closer to the sideline, you can only run one or two routes: either run a streak or run something inside. Or if he lined up 2 yards inside the numbers, okay. Now he's thinking, okay, he's trying to create space to run an out route. So not only that, but then my son was around me as I'm training quarterbacks. Okay, most high school quarterbacks, when they break the huddle or they get the play, they will always look to the side where they want to throw the ball first. Okay, that's a telltale sign. So I'm giving my son all this information, not only about quarterbacks, not only about DBs, but the fact that he played receiver and now he's on that opposite side. I truly believe that's one of the reasons why he was able to make the gains and go to college and be in the NFL, because he just knew what the enemy is trying, how to attack him, and he knew how to take some things away.
And one of my favorite plays, I think it was a couple of years ago, was his pick six against the New Orleans Saints.
Definitely.
You can tell that he knew the route better than the wide receiver that was running the route. So again, that's just attributed to how much time he spends around you and on the football field.
Yeah, even to this day, like we were just talking yesterday, he's going through OTAs right now. He has a new defensive coordinator. And he's showing me film, and if I'm able to give him a little bit extra knowledge on what he's looking at offensively, or what his new defensive coordinator is trying to ask him to do, I'm able to do that. So I love that process, that we're not only father and son, but I still get a chance to still coach him and still help him to be successful, at that level.
I want to add to that, as a dad, having a son play the game that as a dad that I love, in your case you love, and you talked about he's calling you for advice and pointers. Man, how does that make you feel, man?
First of all, it makes me feel good that I still have that relationship, because he's 27 now. Some kids now, he's grown. He's made millions of dollars in the NFL, and sometimes people kind of lose their relationships with their kid. I like to just talk to him about how he's doing. Like, forget football. We don't even start with the football conversation. How you doing? How's you doing in your personal life? Everything good there? Dad, everything's good? Okay, now we can get into other avenues. But just to have that relationship to talk about I'm always dad first. I'm not Steve Calhoun, Armed and Dangerous football, quarterbacks, receivers, that. I just want to be dad first and be able to still be that father figure and have him never hesitate on whatever he has going on in his life. He can always call me right away, and I can give him that information.
Steve, one of the things I think that just makes you so successful is the fact that you always go back to the basics with these guys. I see Keenan Allen when he's working on footwork, just working on get-offs. And, as a football coach myself, we're always doing fundamentals, but it was amazing to see these guys still doing the basic fundamentals on that level.
Yeah, definitely. I truly believe that the fundamentals are the key to any position or any sport that you play. In our case, on the football world or quarterback receiver stuff, I think if you have a great fundamental base on top of their normal skill set, that's is where you create the separation from another person in your position or another receiver or another quarterback around the league that's trying to beat you or trying to take your recognition.
I have one question, sir. What is your end game? What is your goal with Armed and Dangerous?
To continue to grow the game. Not only am I coaching here in the United States, but I'm also coaching every year in summer. So the whole month of August, I'm in Europe, in Germany, in Belgium, in the Netherlands. So I just want to continue to grow the game and just kind of give back to it what it gave me. It gave me a lot so far to be sitting here with you guys and start my own podcast. So I just want to be able to give back to the game.
Why don't we talk about the game and how it's expanded? I mean, we're playing games in Europe, we're playing games in Mexico. I mean, where do you see this going, Steve? Are we going to have professional teams in other countries?
I think so. I think the first place that possibly could have a NFL team is England, because Europe has really embraced the NFL game. I had the opportunity to go this year to go watch my son, the Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs play in Frankfurt. So that was unbelievable. That was my son's first time to be in Germany. He's heard me talk about it for year after year after year. So to be able to, take him, show him around Germany, take him on the Autobahn, scare him to death, because I'm doing over 150 miles an hour in the car. He's just like this, oh my God, Dad. Yeah, so to be able to show him that, but definitely the game has grown. I'm planning on going to the Green Bay Packer Philadelphia Eagle game, which is in Sao Paulo, Brazil. September 6th, it's a Friday night game to go watch Jordan Love. So to have an NFL game in Brazil is just like unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And pretty soon we're going to be playing on the moon. I mean, football is the biggest sport. We're going to be playing it everywhere. And it's just so amazing that you get to travel to all these places. Yeah. Why don't you tell everybody about your journey and how you started in Germany?
Wow. Yeah, I was playing semi-pro football. Well, played in college at New Mexico State. Ended up playing some semi-pro football. Got a call from a coach over there. He's speaking English, so he's an American coach. And he goes, hey, you want to play football? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, where? He said, yeah, in Germany, Munich, Germany. I'm like, football in Germany? He goes, yeah, we're going to pay you this. I said, oh, let's go. When I'm flying out. Yeah, so that was in 1995.
How did they embrace football back then versus how they embrace it now?
It's on a different level. They were passionate about it, but now they love it. It's the difference between passion and love. Now they love the game and the opportunities that it brings, because there's so many young kids, European kids, that are coming over to play high school football and college football. There's so many examples of guys that I've seen, European kids that grew up playing the game in Germany, that had the opportunity to play in the NFL and also in college.
Well, this is it. This is what I like. We're here sitting here today. We're very excited moving forward to see all the relationships that you built to come on your show.
Definitely.
The Armed and Dangerous podcast, man. Yeah. And I think today was a good day.
Yes.
For all of us. And I think, you continue to do what you do, and good things will continue to happen.
No, I truly believe it's exciting just to be able to have this platform. I want to inspire the younger generation that I think they've gotten a little bit lazy on understanding how people say, hey, hard work. It really is hard work, and and to dream and to follow your dreams and put in the hard work, and you have the opportunity to achieve everything that you want.
Just want to say one thing, Steve. You have been absolutely amazing with the youth, with everybody. You've helped me out so much personally, helping kids, doing clinics here and there. And I just really appreciate what you do, because everything you do it with love, and you do it with integrity. I see these people around you. I see how they behave. I see them out in the community. And I see them every Sunday when I turn on the television. So even though you have a lot of NFL players that you represent, could you give us a little sneak peek of some of the other types of people you're going to have on your podcast as well?
Yeah. For example, one that comes right up the top of my head, I'm going to have Josh Pence, who's an actor, he was a quarterback in the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner, the quarterback that played Bo Wallace. So I actually trained him for that role. So I just talked to him the other day. It was his birthday the other day, so I wished him happy birthday. Told him about what I got going on as far as the podcast. He was like, "Hey, let me know. Hey, I'm on there." So that's going to be a real interesting conversation. Also, Eric Grupner, who is the CEO of the Padres. People are like, how do you know the CEO of the Padres? Yeah, he has a kid who played quarterback, who I just happened to get in touch with. So not only Eric Grupner, but also Raja Bell. Okay, 12-year NBA player, was the quote-unquote Kobe stopper. He has a son who's a 5-star quarterback that has over 35 offers. So that's another conversation piece, how I got a chance to meet Raja and train his kid. So that's just a few of the people that's outside of football who had the opportunity to come across in this journey of running armed and dangerous.
And Steve, that's why we are so excited to have you here sitting in your own studio in Los Angeles. The next time you're here, we're going to be gone. It's going to be you talking to someone that's probably in the NFL or someone probably very interesting in society. Everybody's got a story, and we cannot wait to hear what you're going to speak about with your guests. Steve, we are so excited for your show. Any last words for the people out there listening?
No, definitely. Tune in every week. It's definitely going to be a nice journey. I'll take you guys through the people that I met over the last 21 years. There's a lot of interesting stories. Like you said, everybody has a story. So definitely tune in on all the social media platforms, from Instagram to X, I want to call it Twitter, and even TikTok as well, and Facebook.
And let's make no mistake about it. Didn't you major in this stuff anyways, TV stuff?
I did. Journalism broadcast, New Mexico State. Let's go Aggies.
So there you go. We have a dual talent here. He's a sports guy. He's going to talk to people in pop culture, and he just does everything. Again, it's the great Steve Calhoun of Armed and Dangerous Football. Check him out. He's probably got a camp near you someplace. We're going to get to that later. All right, let's get out of here, guys. We're looking forward to seeing Steve's next move. Again, Elwood and I will be gone. It'll be Steve and his special guest. You're not going to want to miss it. It's the Armed and Dangerous Podcast. I'm John Conti. This is Elwood Brown for Steve Calhoun. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got so much more to come. Thank you very much, Steve.
I appreciate it.